Hey, what is up, guys? Tejas here from 11 Gauge Recordings. So, welcome to part 3 of this video series where I get into one of the songs of my upcoming EP. This song is called Don't Get Too Comfy. So, I'll be getting into kind of each instrument of the song. The previous video, I went into a little bit of the drums, the settings I used for mixing the drums. Now, let's get into a bit of the bass. So the bass was actually the last thing I tracked on all of the songs of the EP. So what I did is I tracked a DI, and post, that is during the mixing stage, I duplicated the DI track, used one of them just for the lows of the bass, and the second one was used for a really trashy, distorted sounding high end part of the bass. So let's get into what I've done for the bass exactly. So this is how the bass actually sounds. And this is another part of the song. So in the first track, what I did is I started off with a low pass EQ, getting out everything above 200 hertz. So this is how it sounds now. I hope you're listening to this on headphones or on monitors, because these are the lows of the bass, so it might not be heard on laptop speakers or phone speakers. So hope you guys can hear this. And followed by a limiter, just to kind of control those just to kind of control that low end of the bass. So cool. So that's how I treated the low end of the bass. Now the duplicated track, which is the high end of the bass, I started off with a SansAmp, one of my favorite plugins. So I actually started off with the SVT preset and kind of tweaked it a bit and made my own preset called Bass Dirty. So these are the settings I used, and this is how it sounds now. So like I said, I don't need the low end now, so took out some of that. So the high pass is set at 170. That's again followed by an EQ where I removed some of the frequencies that I didn't really want and kind of accentuated this 5K area. So this is what cool. That's again followed by the L1. This is actually limiting quite a bit. So the L1 has a bit of this trashy quality when you limit the crap out of these tracks. So I kind of wanted that characteristic. So let's just see what this is doing. Also, I wanted a bit of gain, so brought the slider down a bit. So together, the bass sounds like this. So that's the individual bass tracks. Now on the bass bus, what I'm doing is, so I start off with the Native Instrument and Softube version of the DBX 160. So let's see what that's doing. Cool, that's followed by a limiter, just to control some of those erratic notes. So I like the bass to kind of stay in place and not move a lot, because the bass has low end, so I don't want the low end to kind of flop around too much. So that was my intention with, limiting in different stages. This is then followed by a dip at around 236. Let's see what that does. Yep, just didn't want that. Finally, in the chain, just to control a bit of that low mid of the bass so that it doesn't interfere with the guitars, I just added a bit of multiband compression. So this is what the multiband is doing. Now the last compressor in the chain is actually a sidechain compressor. So I'm sending in signal from the kick on bus 118, which comes into this compressor. So it basically compresses the kick. So it basically compresses the bass when the kick hits, so that the kick is always given importance and is quite prominent even when the bass is playing. So it's not a very noticeable difference, but it makes a bit of space for the kick. So I have to kind of play the kick at the same time for you to see what this is doing. So let's just see what this is doing. So I can show you where I've sent the kick signal from. Sun sends A and E right here. So I've sent a signal from the kick on bus 118, which comes into the bass. So it compresses the bass as and when the kick hits, which is a sidechain compressor. So that's it for the bass. I'll see you in the next part where I'll get into how I recorded and mixed the guitars. So see you in the next video.